introduction. Good afternoon. Hope you stay awake throughout my presentation. I've got, what, 30 minutes? Have you ever had to speak about yourself? You know, it's hard. And when you're like me, you've had countless jobs, you don't know where you've worked and where you're going next, it's even harder. So one thing Bill told me before I got up here, he said, I'm going to pull on your coattail if you're up there too long. And if that doesn't work, he's got a metal baseball bat below the table there. So if something happens, he's the reason. I'm going to have to use a few notes today because a lot to cover when you can't keep a job. Born and reared in Baden, North Carolina, about 50 miles from here. There's a lake there and a state park and a few other things. It's a great place to grow up. Family mattered. Learned a lot of the values about family, community, and faith. It really helped me a lot. After I graduated from high school, I'm going to get on to the meat of it in a minute, by the way. When I graduated from high school, I went to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. And when I finished there, I was no model student, but I did finish in 4 years. I was kind of proud of that. But after that, I said, what do I do next? You know, that's the same thing a lot of people do. What do I do next? So I decided that I'd join the United States Army. This is back right before Vietnam. So I decided I'd go in as a private and then go to Officer Candidate School, which is an option they had back at the time. So anyway, 9 months later, I was a second lieutenant, went to airborne school for 3 weeks. Next thing I know, 10 months later, I'm on my way to Vietnam. Spent a year in Vietnam with an outfit called 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment as a platoon leader for the most part. Anyway, 12 months there. Learned a great deal, as you might imagine, about leadership, either at OCS or during my Army. Learned a lot about people skills that have helped me no matter what I've done the rest of my life, whether my Army life or beyond. And as you know about a lot of things, I did a lot of things right, I did a lot of things wrong. You learn either way. But even with a steep learning curve, it's something that's helped me the rest of my life. After Vietnam, I moved to Charlotte, got married, and later had a son, which I'm awfully proud of. Worked a number of jobs in the healthcare field, either sales management or operational management. Decided also to join the North Carolina National Guard about that time. And as you know, the way the Guard used to be anyway, it was part-time work, weekends, 2 weeks of annual training, and missions, whatever they happened to be. So I did that for a while. And then in 1993, I was a brigadier general in the North Carolina National Guard. I had a unit down in eastern North Carolina. Governor Hunt asked me to be the head of the North Carolina National Guard. Position made me full-time with the military. I was promoted to Major General shortly thereafter. For 8 years, I had the privilege and honor to lead nearly 11,500. Fred Brown, you're one of them. 11,500.
Right here.
There you are. 11,500 soldiers and airmen, and they always performed selfless, outstanding efforts they gave, whether it be in the community, the state, the nation, or international missions. When they were given a mission, they reported and did their very best time after time after time. And I'd like to say our nation, in my opinion, is very fortunate to have such patriots as those, and all the ones in uniform, and it's a national treasure. Then in 2001, after a little over 8 years in that position, I was given the opportunity to go on active duty with the Army and report to, I worked in the Pentagon, and that was in July of 2001. Worked in the Pentagon, reported to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, initially General Hugh Shelton, and later General Richard Myers. I was his advisor on the National Guard. When I was assigned there in July 2001, it was the safest place in the world. The only thing we had to be concerned about was burning our lips on hot coffee. It's a fact. And then on 9/11, like you, I witnessed up close and personal our nation take a punch in the gut and rebound quickly. There were experiences there that I'll never forget as we prepared for and conducted war in Afghanistan and Iraq, and also dealt with something new, Homeland Security challenges, which we're still dealing with today. 2.5 years later, I was given the opportunity to return to North Carolina as the Deputy Secretary of Crime Control and Public Safety, which later became the Department of Public Safety. This department mainly focuses on public safety and emergency management issues and includes such agencies state agent, as the state highway patrol. Any of you ever looked in your mirror and seen those blue lights behind you? I won't ask for a show of hands. Anyway, North Carolina Emergency Management was in their National Guard and other state agencies, including the Department of Corrections. I also got the opportunity to work with Charlotte Fire Department and Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. And of course, Luther Fincher, one of our own members back there, was the chief at the time, so I got to work closely with those agencies. I was at the state level, but they're at the local level, of course. Outstanding leadership, outstanding quality. Thanks, Luther. And then I always retained a permanent residence here and came back and forth as best I could in Charlotte. My family remained here. But I was a member of the YMCA for over 30 years as a member. When I was retired from the state, I was given the opportunity for a part-time job reporting to the CEO and senior staff. Since then, I've enjoyed it tremendously, learned a lot, and met a lot of good, outstanding people. Many of you in here are members of the Y. If you're not a member, go out today and join. I can help you if you need it. But it is one of my favorite places in the world, and the Y makes a positive impact on the community in so many different ways, whether it be healthy living, social responsibility, or helping youth development. And one thing I might report also, might surprise some of you, maybe not if you're members, might add the Y is active and alive. The C in YMCA is active and alive as one of the foundations for the YMCA. A couple of things I'll mention before I sit down. Although I don't claim to have mastered life skills, and many of you have forgotten more than I'll ever acquire, a couple lessons learned for me. First, I received more personally than I ever gave to military service or to public service. And it was an honor to have served all those years. We're truly blessed to live in an extraordinary nation. We forget it sometimes, and I would ask if that's a mistake. Critically important to building relationships and team building and working through issues. I don't always do this, but I know it's important and make an attempt to. And finally, the need to always focus on the mission and have a can-do positive attitude. A few things that I've tried to do, haven't always done it, but it's helped along the way. Anyway, that's it. Hopefully I didn't get the baseball bat yet. I'll just leave you with an expression we have in the United States Army, and that would be,
I knew he was going to give me back for introducing him that way. I don't know about you, but I could have listened to Rudy for a couple of hours. That was great. Someone else that you're going to enjoy listening to is Karen Price. She's been a member since November of 2011. She's a Charlotte native, and please welcome Karen Price.
Well, I was kind of hoping you were going to sleep through it. Guess you're awake now. Hi, I'm Karen Price. Oh, I need that. All right, thank you. Jessica's taking very good care of me. I'm Karen Price. I am a native of Charlotte. I work for Adams Outdoor Advertising. I'm the real estate and public affairs manager. And I get to tell you the really fortunate story of somebody who was raised here, went to school here, has a long history and passion for this city, but I've also gotten the benefit of being able to take some time off. I stepped back from my career after I went to Queens and graduated from there. And there, I went too far. Sorry about that. It's fine. So I went to Queens. I had a great education there. I worked through college, and then when I got out of Queens and I established my career and met my husband and we had children, I had the fortunate to be able to step back and take some time off and raise my girls. But one of the things that I've always instilled in my girls, and I got this from my grandparents and everyone else, was a sense of family history. My family, different parts of it, and some of it is legend and who you believe, but goes back many, many generations, 5 and 6 generations or more. My maiden name is Landis, but and there is a Landis, North Carolina, but we have a lot more ties in the Dysarts and Marion, North Carolina, and those type of areas. But This is one of the oldest pictures that my family has, and I had it recently, we had it restored, and I actually donated it to the Lincoln County Museum for history. But it's a house that, the house is not standing, but the location is still there. And when you see this picture, it was taken on a glass frame, and it has really tight, pretty picture. It's really amazing. But so, childhood pictures, towhead, blonde, my granddad. There we go. These are my girls. I have two girls that could not be more different. They're both being raised here in Charlotte in the public school system. One is at our neighborhood school. The other, she decided when she was like 4 years old that she had made the decision she wanted to go to a magnet program. And we enrolled her thinking, well, she'll never get in. And now we have a German-speaking second grader. And we don't speak German. We've had some ups and downs. That's my grandmother, and our younger daughter did have some medical issues when she was younger, but we've all made it through that very well. And one of the other things about history, my family has a long history in pottery, and that's one of the things we try to do with the girls is visit a lot of the local places in North Carolina where our family has been or where things have mattered, you know, as far as where our family's made some kind of an impact over the years. So they get an appreciation of that same history. And I became a runner about 5 years ago. I ran my first half marathon 4 years ago, and I try to run 2 half marathons a year, because for me that makes one. I've met a lot of characters, made a lot of friends. Rotary has been a very big part of that. I worked for the Charlotte Chamber before I joined Adams Outdoor. A lot of characters. And my job has been a really neat one, because a lot of people don't realize how much goes into having billboards in your market and all the different things that you get exposed to. Part of my job is the philanthropic piece, what we donate back to the company and how we work with municipalities. Some of the things that we get to do and some of the things that my kids have gotten to do. That desk looks like the White House, but if you remember the DNC when they were here and they had the mock, but we sent it out as our Christmas card. It was a big hit. And here's some more friends. I got to go to the governor's ball. A lot of you I have met over the last couple years, and we've gotten to do some really fun things together. And no, I didn't get clearances or waivers before I used their pictures. I've seen Charlotte grow. I've seen some really neat things come about, as I know a lot of you have, but it's just very exciting for me to see, you know, UNC Charlotte get their football team, the skyline, how it's changed, 485. I mean, I remember when I was a little kid, they were talking about Independence was going to be widened, and, you know, there used to be a Krispy Kreme out there, and, you know, now the intersection of Pecan and Independence is more like a racetrack. But just seeing some of the changes and where we've gone and places I take my kids now that, you know, if you take them to Carolina Place Mall and I tell them I used to ride horses in the big grass pasture that used to be out there. It's just neat to see how this city's grown. And there's a few more pictures of the girls as they've grown up. I'm a very proud mom. And I stole some of Bert's pictures because he takes the best. And this is the team at Adams. We have a really great family there. We have about 65 employees. That's only about half of them, but we'd all gotten dressed up for the Panthers playoff games. And that's it. Thank you so much.